This week in gaming, Xbox starts its mass layoff with 1,600 employees getting the boot day one, and more to come as the fiscal year goes on. This is the Nerd Cave News, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and co-host, Derek Daniel. Derek, welcome to the show, my man.
What's up, man? As I say, it's been one heck of a week, if I could say. From Sony deciding we're done with digital media, and now it's like okay, because you heard a bunch of, and we'll get into it later in the show, but I just got to say, it is weird seeing how fast of a turnaround that we go from the rumors of what's going on at Xbox to literally days later finding out, because whether that's a credit to Asha Sharma or not, I don't know, because, she's like, oh, we need to lower Gamepass. And then literally a couple weeks later, Gamepass was lowered. I'm like,
Yep.
Cool. And now it's like, oh, these studios are in jeopardy. These studios might be sold off, blah, blah, blah. These are going to get hollowed out. I'm like, okay, this is probably going to happen by the next fiscal quarter or whatever, probably by the end of the year. Nope. Next week happening. And it's like, dude, what is this? What is it? Which spoiling, and I know this shouldn't have an effect on me, because we should still enjoy games, but it's just hard to play games, man. Knowing on and I know it's people that we will never probably interact with on the most part, but it's just knowing how much business is going is reaching into our hobbies. It's just demoralizing. I'm just I just feel apathetic about playing video games now.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I really wanted to play the DLC for Doom, the Dark Ages.
Oh, yeah, that did come out this week. Holy
literally
cow.
The day that people got fired from id was the day the DLC launched. And I'm like,
it's like, hey, here's the DLC, but we had to let some people go. It's very conflicting.
It's really weird, and I feel like the credits would be kind of like reading an obituary. It's just just a list of people that are no longer there. It's just very difficult. Very difficult. Amy says, all the drama tonight. Yeah, we got a lot.
There is no drama. What you mean? There is no drama.
There's no war in Bossing, say.
I have no enemies.
I have no enemies. A real warrior doesn't need a weapon, No. It's all good. Derek, before we get into everything, what you been playing?
Well, like I said, as I alluded to, I've just been very apathetic to... I've been more enthralled to watch anime than I have play video games. And I know I need to get out of that funk. I need to get into something, because I know once Marvel's Wolverine comes around in 2 months, which is crazy to think about. Yeah. And then Gears is literally a couple weeks after that, which we'll see. We'll see if that'll still be the case. We'll get into that later down the road, later in the show. But Marvel's Wolverine is coming out in 2 months, so I need to at least play something so I can delete it off my hard drive so I have space for Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, and it's today Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced came out.
Oh, that's right. Holy cow.
And in a few weeks we're getting Halo Campaign Evolved. And it's there's just so much still coming out and everything. What I've been playing, since you didn't get a chance to play, I played a good chunk of Death Stranding 2. And dude,
okay,
I got to this part where I'm going through this. It's essentially two mountains on two mountain tops or whatever. And I'm going through the middle, and the most amount of BTs that I've ever came across in either game, there was literally 40 or more, and there's usually maybe 8 to 12. That's kind of pushing it. There's a few of them usually. Man, it took me 2 hours to get through it, because it's you have to be quiet, and you I didn't usually like they prep you, like if you're going on a mission, it's like, oh, by the way, there's a lot of BT activity in this area. Nothing.
Wow.
So I go in there pretty like bare bones equipment. And so I'm like having to sneak up to them, and you got like a little thing where you can like cut, they call it the umbilical cord. And like, I'm going in there, I'm like cutting, I'm like trying not to die from asphyxiation, holding my breath and everything. So it literally took me forever to get through that. So played a good chunk of that. And then, of course, playing V Rising, getting through that. I've got like 3 more levels of like bosses, and then I hit Dracula. Dracula is like the ultimate, not the penultimate, but the ultimate boss in the game. So working my way through that. I know I've played probably 90 hours at this point. It was like 70 hours a few weeks ago, and now I know I've put more time into it. And then of course playing Lego Batman on Tuesdays. Man, that game is so fun. Though the way that they've crafted the story to be able to go from the Batman into 1989 Batman Returns into Batman and Robin, and all of like, just the way they've done that is so good. And just the nods and, you know, showing history without like making it slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause I feel like sometimes it's just like, and if you don't know, you don't know. Like there was a painting or a little like art piece or whatever that had like pictures of like 2 people on it. And it's like, if you didn't know, it was like Bob Kane, which was one of the creators of Batman, and then Bill Finger, which is the other, like the artist side of the creation and everything. But it's like, you could walk right past it and never know. But it's like, because I'm a big, you know, Batman fan, it's like, oh, that's who that is. And like getting to like share that with, you know, stream and all of that was really, really cool. So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm enjoying every minute of it. And I'm just ready to get more into it. It's like, I want more time to just explore and go through Gotham, because I'm literally just kind of going mission to mission. And I think like, I just want to like experience the story before I do a lot of like the Riddler things and, you know, that sort of stuff. So
cool. So sounds like it's a great time. I don't know if I'll ever get to Lego Batman. I know I haven't played a Lego game in forever, since Lego Horizon. I tried it out, but it was, I don't know. It was different. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it was just different. So I don't know. I don't know if the Lego games are past me. Like, I feel like I need to try that one out. But again, Wolverine in 2 months, I'm not going to have. I would want to rush through and not give it its due time.
Yeah, I think because you like the Arkham games, like you would enjoy it. And I know you used to like the Marvel Lego games and all of that. So eventually you should check it out. You've got access to it on our PlayStation stuff. So you know, because hey, you know, sharing's caring. Since you can't share physical games anymore because they're getting rid of that.
Yeah, no.
Michael, what's up? Can't wait to hear all the good news in gaming.
No sarcasm in that statement at all.
Yeah, I think you've heard all the good news in gaming and what I've been playing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like these last, minus the episode, like minus doing Eat Sleep Anime last week, I feel like the shows we've done in the gaming, like we're just the bad news bears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there has been like Summer Game Fest was the last time we talked about anything positive in the industry.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like none of these decisions that we're going to be talking about tonight and what has led up to tonight was done in a knee-jerk reaction. So it was like, we know, like going into Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase, PlayStation State of Play, all of these, they knew what was about to happen. And it was like, all of us were like, oh man, we're getting like some cool stuff. And then it's like, they're behind you with piano wire and like got you. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh God!
It's
Ah!
like, distraction, sleight of hand, and it's like, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, without further ado, we've got a lot to talk about tonight,
Hmm.
and the big story,
Nothing
of
at all.
course. Yeah, I wish, Derek. I wish it was a slow week. Uh, you know what I mean? It was just we just get to talk about the games that we love and all of that, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're going to talk about the mass layoffs that have happened over at Xbox, and there is a huge restructure that is happening in the company, and this is the biggest restructure in Xbox history. And
Hmm.
how this is going to kind of work, everybody, is we're going to read a letter from Asha Sharma, and it's going to kind of detail and give us like the context that kicked off Monday. Like my phone was
Hmm.
blowing up from Insider Gaming, IGN, you texting me, kind of funny, all like my Substacks, all of these like were blowing up, and I'm just like, cool. So
Wonder what it could be.
wonder what it could be. Yeah, so we got a lot to discuss, and we're going to go big picture, and then we're going to go kind of section by section on the stuff that's
Yeah.
happened throughout the week and everything. So Derek, read us Asha Sharma's letter.
Strap in, because this is going to be a read. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 people throughout the fiscal year of 2027. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today, and in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, while others were recruited here or sought us out because they loved this industry and loved Xbox. Today's decisions do not reflect their talent or dedication. Our business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Gamepass, multi platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core businesses weakened and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. First, we will reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP, catalog, and runway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is beginning to require consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. We are also making reductions across other units and, in some cases, shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first party publicly owned or publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These 2 studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest by monthly active users. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. Second, we will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. Our platform terms are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation. Even as our player base and playtime have declined, that complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. We will reduce management layers to no more than five, and where possible three. We will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, which are individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, who are leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals, or DRs, who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. Third, we are resetting how we operate. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal and make the right trade offs and get things done. For the first time, we are establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Helen Chang, who has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me, over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of our most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring our businesses together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our successes and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. Thank you, Dave McCarthy, who is retiring after 17 years with Xbox. Dave has played a defining role in building the platform that millions of players rely on every day, and has been a trusted partner through many of the biggest moments in Xbox's history. We wish him all the best. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before. This year, we'll invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity, all in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. I know we can achieve this goal. Xbox has many of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history, talented studios around the world, and we will return to growth in 2027. History is full of companies that mistake longevity for inevitability. We will not be one of them. Woo! The one thing I will give Asha credit is, a lot of these CEOs and people come out and they word salad us to death. Asha just gets down to the brass tacks, and she is real. Like, where
Yeah.
Phil brought a different Phil Spencer, that is, brought like a different, like, he brought a different relatability to us because he's a gamer, and he's just like, look, I am a businessman, but I'm also I'm a gamer first, and I want you guys to understand that, and I'm going to talk to you like you're people, not talk down to you like you're just mindless minions that you're just like, give me money. Like, Asha is just like blunt, candid, and I will say, as much as rough as this is, and we talked about it the last time Xbox had some, bad news to deliver. We talked about how Satya Nadella is the real issue here, enforcing everything to be profitable, and that's where I kind of want to start off with, Zach. Reading this is like, before we get into the nitty gritty of this, is there a positive spin to all of this going on? Because again, we've talked about it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I mean, once you hit rock bottom, the only place you have to go is up. And what's the silver lining here?
Silver lining is that none of the games that have been announced are being canceled.
There is one caveat. We'll get to that later with a studio that was affected by all this, but that's because it's a third party operating. But we'll get to that. But I agree with you. That is the huge thing. It's like after whether it was Phil's decision or not, but like closing their first quadruple A studio that they built from the ground up in forever, and having Perfect Dark come back, is like they not only closed the studio, they canceled the game, and they've been Now there have been some deal breakers with third party publishers, there's some, but yeah, none of the games like Senua, State of Decay 3, all that are being canceled, which I thought is a huge part of this.
Yeah, and we're not seeing like Fable's not getting canceled, Gears of War E-Day, like all the stuff that we saw at the the showcase isn't being canceled. That's huge. The other is that the studios that are, you know, that could have been shut down are getting different management, either going completely independent again, or they're being bought by, you know, other people to continue like making stuff. And then even with Arcane, because like with France, it is so much red tape and government like oversight and everything, which is a good thing when you really get down to it. Because man, think about like how, and like I don't think Xbox would have been able to move this fast, you know, in any other country than, you know, like the US. If it was like over in Europe, it wouldn't have happened. So I think those are like some really silver lining stuff that is actually, yes, this sucks like 1,000%, but it's not like when Arcane Austin got closed and Tango Gameworks got closed, or Blue Point, you know, and all of these other studios. And thankfully Tango Gameworks did get bought by Tencent and everything, but like thankfully, and I'm curious your thoughts as well on this, before we kind of dissect. I was thinking about this. I wonder if Toys for Bob and Tango Gameworks kind of opened up Xbox to be willing to spin off these studios instead of shutting them. So it's like, okay, we can make some money from this, you know, in this way or whatever. And I'm wondering if that is like a reason why we're seeing this kind of stuff instead of like Blue Point just getting shut.
Right. And, you know, it is, I do think it has somewhat of a, I do think like Xbox put that feather in their cap, you know, just a little like, or put it, you know, as a point in their memory, just like, okay, let's see how this does. Cause, you know, again, they'll make money from it, but they're not fitting the bill for like paying, you know, paying the building operations, paying the light bill and all, you know, like they're not paying for it. The studios are relying on that, but they will make profit from the games that they are making in a sense. But, and again, you know, we talked about it in my like kind of diatribe a little bit, you know, about how, why are we just closing it? Why aren't we giving these people a chance, like, to continue to make like, and again, you know, I know this played nothing in the decision because they probably made this decision weeks before I talked about it. But I like to think that, you know, the threat of, you know, you get rid of Double Fine, Tim Schafer. You get rid of Tim Schafer, we all riot. You know, I like to think that threat got to him. And they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's explore other avenues. But I know it's not that kind of thing. But good for them that they're not closing all these studios and laying off more talented people that should be making games in this industry. You know, I do think that is also the huge part of news, is like they are not closing it. You know, Arcane is going to be a different thing because of the government, you know, like, you know, I'd rather them keep it open than Singapore government forcing Skull and Bones out. You know what I mean? That's an entirely different ball of wax. But I do think this is the other huge part of the news. It's like all 5 studios are not closing. Now, other studios were hollowed out a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit later. Like some of them were affected. But I do think that Toys for Bob and Tango Gameworks, you know, coming back into like, you know, it's like, oh, let's just go independent and like figure this out type of deal. So I do think that did play a factor. Like I think it'd be asinine to ignore that as a fact of like as proof of concept.
Yeah, I just wanted to drop that in there because I do think that is an interesting way to think of it, because the model before that was just, it was just closed, you know, and
or pretty much lay off almost everybody in the studio, or just cancel the game.
And also, I know we're going to dive more into this and all of that. I do think it is really cool that every one of like these are like with State of Decay, with Double Fine, Senua, like they have, everybody's keeping their IPs. I don't know about,
that was a third huge part. Yeah.
I don't know about Arcane with like Blade and all of that. Like that one's kind of weird because it is Disney and all of that.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, that is uncommon, you know, because like when Bungie left Microsoft back in the day, they didn't get to take Halo with them. So
Nope,
it's like,
sure didn't.
and again, like I understand nobody's really going to like Psychonauts is a popular title, but nobody but Double Fine is going to be able to make a Psychonauts. It's not like
No,
a Ratchet and Clank or a Jack and Daxter that could be made somebody other than, you know, Naughty Dog or
Insomniac.
Insomniac and everything. So it's like seeing that, I was like, okay, this is a really crappy situation, but I feel like there's a lot of grace and like it's a
Yeah.
very weird like in one moment I want to like storm the gates and like burn
Yep.
down the buildings, but then it's like, okay, I'm looking at this and it's like 64 cents of every dollar was just like up and it's gone. It's just
Yep.
literally was like
Yep.
catching it on fire. And I'm like, okay, Asha walked into this. She didn't
Yes.
create it. And I'm like, how long was that going on? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, no
Yeah.
wonder the Xbox kept going up in price before all of the RAM issues. Or, you know, like the 14 layers of management. Dude,
That's you want to talk about red tape? That's too much.
yeah, and it's like, oh, we want 3 to 5, and I'm like, okay, that makes way more sense, you know, on how
14
to
layers
actually,
is like the ultimate form of micromanagement.
yeah, and it's like no wonder Xbox One and even this generation we've gotten so little of games from this
Yeah.
company, like all the developers, and it's like, well, when you have 14 layers of management and it's like you always I was listening to some dude earlier and I'll throw it over to you, Derek, here. It's like anytime you're dealing with like creatives, they always come in, it's like, oh, we could do this, this, and this, and this, and this, but they're always
Yeah.
it's always the decision of the analytical people, not the creatives. It's not the
Right.
other way around. It's always just suggestion of the creative, but it is a fast and hard. This is this decision from the analytical people. It's never, oh, well, the
Yeah.
numbers say, you know, it's 4.7, but do you have some crazy wacky thing that you might be able to like throw my way to
Yeah.
like, you know, it's never that way. So it's having 14 layers. It's like how many great ideas could have been said yes to if micromanagers and how many people in that 14 layers were just crap at their job.
Also true, because I mean, we're now again. I know Phil took over in 2014, but look at the Scalebound debacle. I think that's one of the most, like
Yeah.
heinous, cancellations in the Xbox, at least during the Xbox One generation. Because yes, would it have been the best thing ever? Probably not, but it had really good bones in it, and it had some really good things going for it. Like, yeah, the premise was weird. It's like you got this pseudo Dante, like Devil May Cry action, and then all of a sudden his headphones turn into dragon armor. It's like, okay, well, I don't know exactly what's happening, but I'm liking everything I see on the screen. So,
Yeah.
and that's just the one thing. Like again, perfect. I go back to Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was another one where it was shaping up to look really good. It seemed like, and then all of a sudden, not only did they cancel the game, it's like we're gonna just nix the studio as well. I'm like, what are we going through? And now, again, that's why I'm going to say Asha. I like Asha's approach to this. Like she's very candid, she's very open. Not to say that Phil wasn't, but I feel like Phil wouldn't have gone down to this depth. Like
No.
the 14 layers, the 64 cents for every dollar type of thing. So I do give credit to Asha, not much credit, but credit that she is being candid, because I mean it is a mess she walked into, and I think like this is her riding the ship, and I think again 1,600 people like the day of this happening, and then 30 like another 1,600 left to go. It's going to be crappy no matter how you slice and dice it, but there were some small wins in this, mostly for the studios, keeping like we said, keeping the IP, not closing, some going independent, some are going to be sold off, and Now, I do the question I do want to ask it. Well, just pose like it doesn't. It's more rhetorical. It doesn't have to be answered, but I do wonder if there's a time frame on Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, because again, they can say it's like, oh, we're going to make sure they get sold, because again, they don't have to make sure they go off to the best situation. They just have to make sure they get sold off and they make some kind of recoup some of the costs they spent to get them. But also, it's like that everything has a statute of limitations on it, and it's like, what if a just hypothetical? I'm not saying it'll be this long of a leash. A year goes by and no one's willing to buy them. It's sort of like, again, like crossing streams to sports. There are some like big name stars that are like, oh, their contract's fixing to expire. We need to get something for them, like a trade, some money or whatever. And organizations nowadays are looking at it as like, well, their contract expires in the summer or like March 1st. It depends on which kind of contract they sign.
Yeah.
And it's like, why spend anything and give anything up when we can just get them for free?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and some studios are just like, but just to finish my point here, it's like, will they be patient and just actually sell them, or will they say after a while, it's like, look, we tried, no one bit, and now we have to close them?
To kind of take everything you said, I love the analogy and everything, but there is an update on that, which I'll spoil it real quick. Both Ninja Theory and Undead are in inner terms with new owners already. So but the owners will fund completion of Senua and State of Decay 3.
Okay.
Yeah. But the name of the buyers have not been dropped yet.
Because I knew that was in the article. Like whoever they sold to would fund it, but I just didn't know they were being sold to. Like they were already in talks yet. So interesting to see who it'll be. Hopefully it'll have the studio's best interest at heart and not hey, make us money. And if you don't, you're canceled.
Well, and it's like, if you're buying these type of studios, like State of Decay, I feel like those games last for a while. But like Senua and all of that, Ninja Theory, it's like you're not buying, a Call of Duty. Like you're buying a kind of an artsy, like headspace kind of game. So it's like hopefully they know what they're buying. You know what I mean? I'm just like, from my side of things, it's like, I hope, it's pretty easy to see what kind of game this is. I do want to hit a few other things in here that I thought was really weird. That Derek, I'm gonna be honest. I think Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond kind of sucked at their job. The more I'm seeing,
the more stuff comes out about the business side of it is like, and maybe Phil started off great, but it's somewhere along the road it went south. And again, I know they tried to lay it on Sarah Bond's doormat, when they exited in the beginning, but Sarah Bond's like, oh, well, there's like, look, if you, again, sleight of hand, it's like, look, if you're trying to throw shade somewhere else, the spotlight's going to come back on you eventually. And guess what? Spotlight's on you, Phil. And again, as much as I liked Phil Spencer, like during the Xbox One era, I do think he turned that company around, like in terms of just overall perception. I won't say business wise, because apparently that did not happen, but perception wise, as far from Don Matrix, just buy a 360 if you don't have internet access. I will give him that credit, but now looking at it, it's like, maybe it was good he left on his own terms.
Because I think, it's like you got to go out a hero, but it's like now a lot of this is like coming out and everything. And I think, Michael says 14 levels. How does it get that bad? I think a lot of that is from all of these acquisitions. Like you had a lot of redundant roles, and like, I know they got rid of a lot of redundancies, but it's like when you have people that have golden parachutes. It's like, oh, well, let's just keep them on so we don't have to pay out these millions of dollars or whatever it may be. And then you get into that position where you have so many people, so many, chefs in the kitchen, that sort of deal. But the thing that I wanted to point out, Derek, is it says in here, for the first time, we're establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end profit and loss responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Okay. Do you know who was the COO of Xbox before this?
Was it Matt Booty?
No, he was over content. COO's over money.
Right.
Dave McCarthy, the dude that
the guy who retired.
Yeah. So before this, Derek, their COO was not over end to end. This is insane for a company, Derek.
That's
end to end profit and loss responsibility across all of Xbox. Like, we look at Bungie and how they've been imploding and how Sony should have stepped in and like took over and all of that. And we're seeing the same thing over at Xbox. It's like, oh, y'all just keep running it the way you have. And it's like, you look at Bethesda. Bethesda doesn't know their butt from a hole in the ground. Like they've got so many bad things going on. And then you bring in Bethesda, then you bring in all these smaller studios, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, then you bring in Activision Blizzard that is a HR nightmare,
Yes.
And then
with Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, and you've got all of this stuff, and you got King and all of that. And it's like, no wonder we're losing 64 cents per dollar when your COO doesn't know the profit and loss across the whole entire gambit. And, I don't know Dave McCarthy. If he was standing in the room with me, I'd be like, oh, okay, you're Dave McCarthy. 17 years with Xbox. I don't know how long he was COO and everything.
Yeah.
But that tells me a lot about.
Yeah. I can imagine this guy giving I can imagine them in just boardroom meetings. It's like, so Dave, how's the P&L look? Is like, I don't know.
Pretty good.
Here's some numbers.
Phil.
Yeah, I'll say
pretty good, Phil. And it's like, you can't give accurate numbers for the whole entire company if you don't have that complete overlook. And it's like, I hate to be the person that's like, this makes business sense, when I want to just tear this apart and be angry at Xbox and Asha, that knee-jerk reaction. But it's like, when you look at this, it's like, these were insane people. How are you running a business with 14 layers of oversight, and then the layer that you should have, Derek, with your profit and loss isn't freaking there?
It's nothing huge. It only determines how the course of how your company should go. Nothing major. So that is a huge thing too. It's like, it's sort of like they just hired some buffoon and was like, hey, we're going to throw you in a COO role, and you're going to be overseeing how the future of our company is going to go. Have fun. And it's like, okay. It's like you got thrown in there with no training, don't know how to look at a spreadsheet. And again, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, yes, we all want to be outraged. And whether it's Xbox, Ubisoft, PlayStation, no matter, when we hear stuff like this, we all want to take our torch and pitchforks and go raid the village. You know what I mean? However, when you get down to brass tacks and you see the numbers and the why they had to do what they did, you can't. You can still get mad. You can still say, but it's a different kind of mad. It's like, how are y'all still functioning now? How have y'all not laid off more people? And it's just baffling, how it's even how they've waited this long to even get to this point as a company.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I think Phil as a person, good. Xbox One side of things, he did turn it around, but we never really got games. And it's like we just kind of got lip service, and it's like it's like when someone has like a disease that's literally eating them in from the inside, and it's like everything's good, and like their thumb falls off at this like the time when they, you know what I mean? And it's like that's what it feels like with Xbox. And it's like we've been looking at this for a long time, and it's like we've literally just gotten spray tans. You know what I mean? It's like spray tans, and it's not good. And the quote here of our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and player time have declined. And it's like, okay, we have larger teams, and I know a lot of times just throwing numbers on top of something doesn't mean that it's actually going to make it better or make things faster. But when you're spending 40% more, which is probably even more than that, on teams, and you're making less games, and the people that are buying your consoles and all of this are spending less time on your stuff, you got to make something happen. It's scary, dude. Like in streamlining vendors, I think the DRIs, I think that was an interesting, directly responsible individuals. I think that is key, because those are going to be the people that are on the chopping block. It's like if something goes wrong, if this was a bad decision, well, who was the one that, okayed it? And you can look. You did. Oh, Derek, you were the DRI on this situation. You lost this $1.5 billion. We're going to kill you. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, when we make a flatter org chart, you can move faster. Okay.
Yes.
You can move faster. You have all these 14. This angers me so much. And it's like, I'm not running a $1 billion organization, but I'm not no dummy. Go watch Dave Ramsey, EntreLeadership, something, read a book, Brian Tracy, Jay Abraham, something over here. My God, how can you, for the first time, establish a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility? It just makes no sense. It makes no sense, Derek. It makes no sense. It pisses me off.
Zach's blood pressure is rising, guys.
I'm just like, how can this even be, Derek? It's like, I feel like everything that I've said good about Phil Spencer and all of the Matt Booty and whoever else were making decisions, like I want to like go back in the past and be like, don't say those things like that. No, they're untrue.
Down talk them, I'm just going to end it on this one, because we got some other stuff to talk about. This is talking about how, again, I was a staunch Phil advocate, but looking at this now, if there was ever to make a case for people who are like, oh, they're major gamers, they should run a gaming company. This is a perfect example of going against the grain and hiring business people. Now, don't go the other route and have a Jim Ryan. Like, meet in the middle.
Or Don Matrick.
Like a Sean Layden. Yeah, or a Don Matrick. Like, meet in the middle. Like, get a Sean Layden. Get a Shuhei
Jack
Yoshida.
Tritton.
Just get people who, yes, they are big on the gaming side and know, are on, or at least have somewhat of a pulse on the gaming industry, like what gamers want, but also be business savvy. Like, make sure that it's like, okay, again, during the PS3 era, PS3 just pretty much was artsy fartsy. They just threw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. That didn't work, and that's why, the PS3 came in at the end, but that's only because they got their head on straight toward the end, going toward PS4. But there's a reason PlayStation has been on top for how much longer. Only time will tell. But so if this is a reason to not bring on a game centric person, like for the gamers type of thing, Phil Spencer is a perfect case study for that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's definitely sad, and I hate to, it's like.
Well, it's like, it goes. We never met Phil Spencer, but the saying still applies. Like, never meet your heroes. It's like, Or actually, now that I think about it, more appropriate is the Dark Knight. It's like you either become the villain, you either become the hero, or die a hero, or live long enough to become the villain. And guess what,
Yeah.
Phil? You have become the villain.
Yeah. Yeah. It just absolutely sucks. But let's jump into the studios leaving Xbox. I know we kind of danced around some of this, but this is going to give a
Yeah.
little bit more in depth on that. So we can just take this section by section, Derek.
Yeah. So for Double Fine and Compulsion Games both go independent, keeping their IP catalogs and what Sharma called runway for their next games. Sharma's email said nothing about whether either studio's workforce was cut during the transition. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms with new owners who will fund the completion of Senua and State of Decay 3. Microsoft did not name the buyers. Arcane Leon is the unresolved one. Management is entering a required work council consultation under French labor law to review strategic options, which is the process that precedes a sale or a closure. The Verge reported Marvel's Blade was internally delayed to late 2027 and running over budget, and IGN says that matches its own understanding. Nobody has said whether Blade ships, dies, or goes elsewhere, and I do want to start with that because that I think could be the only outlier in the situation. Now, the French government notwithstanding, whether what happens with Arcane Leon, I think, again, we said, we just said, how it's amazing they keep the IPs and none of them got canceled. I think our Blade will be canceled only because a third party, that being Marvel/Disney, is the one going, like Marvel Games is the one that gave them the pretty much the go aheads, like, hey, we'll give you the rights to make this game. And again, going over budget, being delayed multiple times. I mean, Blade's just a cursed IP because I know they were supposed to do a movie years ago. It's still in development. Mahershala Ali is still, for right now, attached to the movie still, but Blade's just become a cursed IP at this point. And I don't think it's easy because Marvel and Disney are very shrewd business operators. Like Marvel, like after the Star Wars debacle with EA, like they smart Disney games and whatever that's like never again. We will make smart business decisions. We will make sure that the right IP goes to the right studio. And now again, stuff like with a Leon, like Arcane Leon, falls through. Like the outliers do happen. So I think, but again, going over budget already, and I'm sure if they were like, "Hey, we need more money," it's like the game's not coming still out for another year, possibly even later. Dude, nah, we're cutting it. So I do think Blade will be the casualty of this, but again, it won't be because of Xbox or Arcane Leon. It will be because of Marvel Games saying thanks, but no thanks. We'll try again later down the road, maybe.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that slightly. It is kind of Arcane Leon's fault because
okay, like in terms of, but again, as we just stated, 14 layers of management. You got to wonder how much of Xbox halted Leon's production. But again, Arcane Leon was at the heart of it. They should hold some accountability on this.
Yeah, like if Blade doesn't happen, it does suck. I think it would be a really cool game. I loved Deathloop. I thought Deathloop was really, really good.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that they can't go do something else because Dishonored was great. Like I feel like that side of thing was really good. I'm assuming because it wasn't clear if they keep their IP, which I'm assuming if they're letting others keep their IP, Arcane will also keep theirs.
Like keep Deathloop, keep Dishonored. So I've heard different scuttlebutt to where it is and it isn't. But so in other words, that all just means that it's not finite. There's not a definitive answer yet.
Yeah. So those are the studios that are leaving, which we touched a little bit on that earlier. I'm glad that it's happening this way instead of, the graveyard filling up more this year of more studios being shut down. It's like, okay, we're spinning stuff off and we're reducing staff count, which we're going to talk about here. Now studios getting gutted, but being retained. And we got some updates on that.
So id Software lost roughly half its staff, according to game developers' sources, corroborated by a senior employee on LinkedIn. Quality assurance took the heaviest hit. Most id employees unionized last December, and it's unclear how many union members were affected. IGN's Wesley Yinpool floats the possibility that a reduced id becomes a support studio for other Bethesda first-person projects like Wolfenstein 3 or a future Fallout, which would leave Doom and Quake without a clear owner. ZeniMax Online Studios reportedly lost as much as half of the Elder Scrolls Online team, per Kotaku. Community manager Jessica Folsom told the ESO forums the roadmap beyond Season 1 is shifting and the team needs time to reevaluate. Players on the subreddit are calling maintenance mode within a year and drawing comparisons to Warhammer Online and the Destiny 2 wind down. This is ZeniMax Online Studios' second round of damage after Project Blackbird was canceled last year. Obsidian lost roughly 60 to 70%, including studio veterans, per Kotaku. One source told Kotaku they don't see how the studio's project slate continues. Obsidian has no announced next game after Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 both failed commercially, though Grounded 2 and Outer Worlds 2 DLC are still in progress. Tim Kane's mystery project, which he rejoined for in December of last year, remains unannounced and unaddressed. Machine Games survived, Wolfenstein 3 is an open secret, and Indiana Jones sequel now looks unlikely, and unspecified cuts also landed at Activision Blizzard King, Mojang, and Xbox Games Studios. Now, the one thing I thought it was only about, roughly 67. Okay, I
was going to correct you on that.
60 to 70 people. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought it was 25% of people, but yeah, 60 to 70 people. So now there is one thing I don't know if it made the cut, but I know that they did say they want to refocus on core franchises, right? And that being Gears, Halo, Fable, Forza, and they did mention Doom and Quake in there. So
yes,
I don't think id becomes a support studio. I do think, like, now will they bounce around and help, like, on the next Elder Scrolls, the next Fallout? More than likely, because they got gutted essentially, but they will be on the front. They will be the front runners for Doom, for Quake. So I do think they will make those. Like they won't just reduce id to that kind of a role, but they will, as like, depending on where Doom falls in the, like, they just put out the DLC, the other day. So literally, it's like, okay,
they laid everybody off.
Exactly, the day it launched. And then, side note, it's also wild because I think it was Bethesda wanted to give like a memoriam, like in memoriam, like just to everyone who got affected. And HR came in and said, take it down. I'm like, and they gave some, reason was like, oh, you can't put it in like the communities, like whatever kind of like room it was being posted in. It's like, you can't post it there, but you can post it elsewhere. I'm like, so what you're saying is, so now we're becoming, Nazi Germany. It's like, oh, we don't talk about the dead. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, let's give credit. I mean, people were laid off. Like, probably best friends, like family members were laid off during this. Like, that people worked with them. It's like, let them just have that. And like, again, HR is not your friend. They are there to make sure the company doesn't get lawsuits because of what they're doing. That is all HR is there is for. It's touted as something else, but like, this was a poor look for that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate today.
Yeah.
It's like, I totally understand where HR is coming from and all of that. It's like, there's a right way and a wrong way to, mourn the loss and all of that.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't read any of that stuff, and I didn't see any of it, so I don't fully know. But they are looking out for the company and legal and all that kind of stuff. On the other hand, I totally would be ticked off and like miffed on that kind of stuff if if people that I've worked with for 20 years and studio veterans are being let go, like the art director at id was one of the people that got let go, the one that did a ton of the concept art for Doom 2016 and on. And it's like, I'm looking at the sales figures. Doom 2016 was around 6 to 8 million, like in its
Okay.
lifetime of sales, which is really good.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal about 7.5 million copies, um, which is again
Still pretty good,
pretty
but
good.
you want a little bit more growth than
Yeah.
what the previous game did.
So the Doom the Dark Ages, they had 3 million players in the first week.
Yeah.
So that's
And
including
again,
Game
with Game
Pass
Pass,
and
it does skew, so it does
yeah.
skew a lot of the numbers. Um,
So like it's been a healthy series.
yeah. So
So
so yeah, they'd be leaving money on the table if they just said not let id make Doom. It's like I could see them going to id and be like, okay, you just put out the Dark Ages DLC, cool. Do you have anything immediately in the pipeline you want to do? No, okay, let's go help get Wolfenstein 3 out the door. Let's help speed up Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever. Like just bounce around, and then it's like when it finally comes time, it's like, all right, guys, now that we've got these other projects out the door that have been gestating for a long time, now we need a new Doom. Enough time has passed
yeah.
that we need another Doom game or Quake, whatever it may be. One thing in Obsidian, of the, like Outer Worlds 2, they immediately said after it came out, it's like, all right, Outer Worlds is done. We'll do DLC, but we're not doing it. They just confirmed, obviously, it's like Avowed 2. Like they were thinking about focusing. They said, okay, we're going to focus on making Avowed the next game, and that is canceled. And I would like to look forward, because I think that was like trying to be like their Dragon Age in a sense, like series for them. I think it had a lot of good qualities. Like obviously, it didn't do anything that blew people away or like pretty much pushed the RPG genre forward.
Yeah.
But I do think there was enough good there to warrant doing a sequel. So the fact that that's canned is disheartening. But they did come out and say, Jason Schreier did post, like it was breaking news, that they are working on a Fallout game. So fingers crossed, New Vegas 2 confirmed, maybe, who knows, or New Vegas remake, who knows. Only time will tell, but they are back working on in the Fallout world, so we will see how that goes. But again, shout out to, like hearts go out to everyone affected by all these layoffs. Like again, studios, it's you think 5 studios would be enough of a bloodletting to be like, all right, no one else is affected, and then you hear about these other like 4 studios that were gutted essentially, and like losing
Yeah.
like it losing half their staff, ESO losing half their staff is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and like I look at Obsidian, they had like 265 people
Yeah.
at the studio, and again, they launched 3 games last year.
Yeah.
So
None of them took the world by storm, though.
none of them took the world by storm, but they also know how to work quickly and effectively, unlike Bethesda. Unlike Bethesda. And I think, focusing on, it's like, okay, we've given you the leeway to work on projects that haven't panned out. We need y'all to work on stuff that actually sells.
Yes.
It's like you still can be creative. Like people, like the game that people rave about, Fallout, is Fallout New Vegas. Like that is the one that everybody raves about. It's like, go do that again. Bring your expertise back to that world. And it's like, yeah, you did lose a good chunk, so you might not be able to make as many games, but it's like, okay, we've got a core group that's working on Fallout, and then we have a support staff that goes and helps, like give the coalition a freaking break, which you don't hear nothing, which I know that they're Xbox game studios and everything, but you don't hear anything, because I think they've been doing so much work for everybody else over the years. Like, and nobody's complaining.
You can rest now.
yeah, exactly. And Elder Scrolls Online, I don't know what the numbers are on that side of things. I don't know how profitable that is. But clearly, because ZeniMax also does the Fallout 76 side of stuff as well. So it's like we definitely are seeing a shift on that, on different things. So it is very, very concerning at the same time, but it's like, I think removing, again, back to the layers of management, removing the 14 layers that we saw creep up here. And also, I think every studio now is reporting directly to Asha
Yeah.
instead of think, and that was the crazy thing. Again, PlayStation has been doing it, Xbox was doing it, and it's like it doesn't need to get to the point where there is an issue for there to be oversight.
Imagine, just thinking about the layers. Like, imagine being on a customer service call, like you're trying to get something figured out, like tech support or whatever, and they send you to 14 different people. It's like, all right, now I'm going to send you to Susie in this department to do this one thing, and then she's going to bounce you over to Ben, who's going to do this one thing else. It's like, no, just get me to somebody who can just get me through the whole process without all this hullabaloo.
Yeah. God, I would be losing my ever loving mind. Let's jump into the next one. Let's talk about Bethesda's pivot, Derek.
Yes. So Bethesda boss Jill Braff sent a separate email. Bethesda is abandoning a planning model built around each independent studio's roadmap and moving to one organized around its strongest franchises, with talent and resources allocated across the organization rather than held inside studios. That means Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein are going to be the frontrunners, while Starfield is the obvious omission. It also raises the possibility of Obsidian being handed a Fallout or Elder Scrolls assignment with Bethesda Studios supporting. And again, if Obsidian took the lead on that, that'd be cool. That would be fantastic. Rather than because when initially it's like, oh, they're working on a Fallout game, or they will be. I was like, okay, are they just going to be a support studio for Bethesda to pump out Fallout 5 or whatever the heck they put out? But this is really good. This sounds really good and promising. And again, Xbox got down to Xbox, game studios do the same thing. It's like, all right, these are the core franchises we need to focus on, which again is ironic because, within the calendar year between May and, next February, we're going to have the four pillars. We have a Forza, we have a Halo, coming this month. We have Gears in October, and then we have Fable in February, which was the core of what 360 was. So I think, and again, people are going to be like, oh, here we go. They're just going to focus on the ones that make them money. It's like, okay, yeah, but when you're losing 64 cents for every dollar, you have to try and recoup as much as you can. That doesn't mean they down the road, they won't go back to like the smaller games. Like I know they just spun off Double Fine, but for argument's sake, like a Psychonauts, like a Kiln, like these smaller passion projects that can just be throwaways and like just fill the gap between these huge massive titles, but also using these studios like, hey, all right, we got out this game, now everyone jump over here and now help out. It's like, in a sense, it is like a big teamwork aspect, and I know that is very much taxing on the people. It's like, okay, we got to go from this one to this one. It's sort of like, again, crossing streams. It's like Mappa getting all these big projects, and it's like, all right, we finally did JJK. It's like, cool, but now we need you to do campfire cooking, or we need you to do this big project. It's like, oh my god, when can I rest? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like my only issue with like being support and everything is it goes back to, and I think this is also what Asha's wanting to address. If everybody is working on their own engine, their own code bases, all of this stuff, even if you add people, there are little intricacies, all these things that, oh, well, on our team, we do this, that, and the other, and it helps us get this. And it's like, if you bring in a ton of people that don't know that, then you're having to get all those people up to speed and things slow down. And I know that was one of the points that she like had in her message. It was like, wanting everybody to be on the same code base, the same protocols and all of that. And it's like, if we can unify that, that will help. Derek?
Yes. One studio that's like just talking about like using the same engines or like using the same resources in a sense, like not having everyone doing like 20 different engines that run on. Look at Capcom. Ever since they did the RE engine, that like does these ultra, like Devil May Cry runs on it. I'm sure other games, I'm sure Pragmata runs on the RE engine. It's like they have one engine that'll run all these different games no matter which studio is doing what. and that's, it's solidarity, and it's like, okay, cool, you're not just sharing like, oh well, we like, you're not conflicting ideas. It's like, well, we do it this way here. Oh well, this works for us this way here, so how can we mesh this? And like, instead of grinding through the minutia, it's like, oh, we have solidarity, we can use this one engine to run these games. Cool, let's do it.
Yeah, and it one of the reasons why Halo Infinite it took so much was it was working on the Slipstream engine, and
Yep.
it was a flipping mess. And you were correct, Pragmata was built on. Yeah, you were correct. Pragmata was run on. It runs on the RE engine. Yeah, I think the biggest thing here for Bethesda is they need to fix their crap. They need, like, and this is devs have come out that used to work there, or as confidential.
Even
and
Pete Hines.
Yeah, it's like the way that they work, they do not have a good working model. Everything is buggy, everything is convoluted. There has to be cleaned up before we can move forward. It's like we already got the reports that Elder
Scrolls 6.
Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be delayed more. And it's like, my God, how long do you need to work on this? And it's going to look like it's playing on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I mean, the running joke for all, like, but that, like, not so much like the ids, the machine games, all that, but like Bethesda proper software. The running joke is every time they release a game, it's buggy as all get out. And I know they said, "Oh, Starfield's not going to have that major problem or as big of a problem," and it's like it still did. It was somewhat of a smoother release than it has been, but it's like it's still like way buggier than it should be for a game release. And I know that's today and age. It's like, all right, going gold just means all right, we're working on patch 1 for launch day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I was wondering where you'd see that.
Sorry, I had it behind a search over here. GameStop CEO 65 cents is nothing if you think half cash, half stock. True.
Hit the soundboard, Zach.
Half stock.
Nate, how's it going, my man? So that kind of brings us to the culmination of all of this, and I know we're going to talk about Game Pass and everything. But if y'all are enjoying this show, if y'all want to see not 64 cents and 14 layers of management, you want to see an awesome show continue to be made, and I'm talking about the flattest word chart you're ever going to see. 1.5 person business. It's a very flat org chart. If I do say so myself. You can go over to patreon.com/nerdcave and support us there. Are we doing a double Patreon plug tonight? We are. That was our mid-roll. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to smack that like button, because Asha Sharma gets candid talking about Game Pass. Let's run this one.
So Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has admitted Game Pass has failed to grow as Microsoft had expected, with reports indicating it is tens of millions of subscribers short of previous targets. The Wall Street Journal said that Microsoft had expected Game Pass subscriptions to hit around 77 million this year, but it currently only has about 30 million. Woof. As revealed during the FTC versus Microsoft trial of 2023, Microsoft had hoped for 100 million subscribers by 2030, which seems very unlikely at this stage. Go figure. The whole point of Game Pass is that it provides enormous value to subscribers via an expanding library of games, boosted by big day one launches from Xbox Studios. Microsoft invested huge sums in acquiring content for Game Pass, including an eye-watering $69 billion with a B on Activision Blizzard. Spencer hoped to boost Game Pass subscribers by launching new Call of Duty games day one, but subscriber numbers have failed to grow, with console numbers in particular hitting a wall. And again, Asha could have come out like most CEOs, business heads, and word salad you to death, but she just got down to the brass tacks and was like, look, this is where we wanted to be. We are not even halfway to being at that point. And it's it's eye opening. Like, again, 14 layers of management, 64 cents on the dollar. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't and I know we've there's been hints and, like, discussions about, that we've talked about over the last couple of years about how Game Pass is not making the money it needs to be, how it's not hitting its subscriber goals, how it got stagnant and it's losing. And I know once Game Pass went up, they lost a lot of subscribers. It'd be interesting to know how much of that 30 million, like, what it was at before they lowered the price of Game Pass, and seeing how many they got back, essentially, or new subscribers to to join. But at the end of the day, now, and it raises the question, Zach, is like, I know there's some decisions you are too far in to pretty much pull out, to pull the plug on. Do you think, like, and again, like, 100, I forgot the whole 100 million by 2030. I mean, it's halfway through 2026. You might reach 60 million by 2030, might, and that's even stretching it. That's a. Do you think within the next, I'll only say next 5 years, it could be 10 years, who knows, but do you think that, actually, let me put a year on it. Do you think if by 2030 they're not even halfway to this 100 million, we see Game Pass go away?
I don't think they hit half. I think they might be lucky to get to 40 million by 2030. Just because,
unless they do like a drastic price drop,
things get more affordable. There's a lot of play here. And also it's like people want games, and even though the first party games come to it and everything, this is kind of a rough estimate. There's only been about 35 plus first party titles since 2018.
Woof.
That's not a lot. That's not a lot. And I know that they have
an 8-year span. No.
Yeah. And it like, you want the highlights here, Derek?
Yeah. Sea of
Thieves, State of Decay 2, Forza Horizon 4, Crackdown 3, Crackdown 3,
the Mecca.
Bleeding Edge. Oh my God, you know,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Tell Me Why, another Age of Empires, Minecraft Legends, Sinuous Saga, Hellblade 2, Flight Simulator. And then last year was the best year that they had with 7 games, 3 of those being from Obsidian and everything. But it's like, I look at this and I'm like, this is not like 2022, 3 games: As Dusk Falls, Grounded, and Pentiment.
Yeah.
Dude, that is not good. And it's like, oh yeah, I wonder why nobody wants an Xbox, because they don't have any freaking games. And it's
at least
like
worth playing. And I mean,
yeah. And it's like, okay, well, Game Pass, you get like, indies and third parties. And I was like, yeah, but like, how much is Xbox giving those people to put their games onto the service? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they only got 30 million people giving money back.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, back to your question, will they end it if they don't hit that number? It would be very hard to, because it's guaranteed money at the moment. If this is my thought, if you start seeing it go down more, let's say we're at 30 million right now, 2030, we see it at 15 million.
Yeah.
Because games aren't there. It's just not as good as it's supposed to be. Then they pull the plug, because if I can charge you $70 for a game, that's why that's why Call of Duty's not on there anymore. You know what I mean? Like, the new launches.
And I know that's what Asha, another thing she talked about is like, that's why she wants to get back to exclusivity, because, like, again, I didn't realize 35 games since 2018 are only like first party titles. It's like, Asha's like, we need to pump those numbers up. Like, get the multi-platform thing was to bring in revenue, and we need to get back to generating in-house revenue, not like relying on other studios and paying them, to bring in the cash, so to speak. Um, and I get what you're saying, but I don't know, man. Like I think this was probably because we used to say back in the day it's the best value in gaming, but now I think more and more people are on the side of like it's devaluing games. Like now to the common gamer, it like they're like, oh, this game, to the average person who only plays a few games a year and or is can only buy one $70 game, and it's like, oh, I don't know what I should spend that $70 on. It's like, oh, let me try this on Game Pass first, and let me see if I want to like buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it. So I do think like as a trial to see what kind of games are out there is a good thing. But I do think it is devaluing games, especially when you're not getting like it'd be one thing if they were at like say even 50 million right now, right? Like they're still falling short of where they want to be at this point, but it's at least more attainable, like at least more sustainable, palatable is the word I'm looking for, um, than 30 million by this point. So it would cost an arm and a leg, but I do think, especially what we just talked about earlier in the show, Asha I think is willing to pull that plug,
Oh
and
yeah.
especially if Satya Nadella, with his as much of a jerk as he is, like forcing like him to hit these margins and whatnot, if he sees that it's not hitting this, I think he would agree to this without a heart, without a beat. And it, again, I hate to keep kicking the man when he's down, and especially when he's not there anymore. But this was another Phil Spencer decision. It's not looking good. Just saying.
Yeah, and to quote Sean Layden, daddy of the PS4, they are trying so hard to will this into health, despite unfavorable diagnostics and a grim prognosis. A clarifying postmortem would do the entire industry some good. Also, he said it's bad for the business.
Yeah. I mean, good for the consumer, bad for the business side.
Yeah. His sharpest line was calling developers who put games on Game Pass wage slaves, arguing the model strips away the upside of hit game exploding in the marketplace.
Yeah. I forgot he said that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like looking at it now, it's true.
Yeah, and it's like looking at the numbers. I'm doing a lot of like quick searches and all of this. Xbox Game Pass hit nearly $5 billion in annual revenue for the first time during Microsoft's fiscal year 2025. That's about 21% of Xbox's $23.5 billion total revenue for the year. And roughly 15% of Microsoft's Xbox content and services revenue. That was per Phil Spencer. And that was, I think, right before the amount of money went up on Game Pass and everything. Only time will tell. And Nate says, even if I had time to game, I don't know if I would go back to Game Pass unless I could earn enough points and Microsoft rewards to get it.
Fair.
And it's like they need to have games. And I think that is a lot of the focus here to, boil everything that we talked about tonight down into a nice little palatable gummy. Okay. Is we're cutting a lot of fat. A lot of people that are talented are losing their jobs, but we're also getting rid of a lot of mismanagement of time.
We're getting rid of 11 to 12 layers.
Yeah, we're getting rid of a lot of mismanagement of time, resources, and power of game development, and we're focusing on games that have been successful over time, and we are, letting go, and they're still surviving studios, which again, Xbox is the only studio that I have seen do this. And I will sing the praises of that kind of decision, because Blue Point should still be around. There's so many others that should still be around. And thankfully Xbox is going to help that. And, you know, some of them are still like, Compulsion and Double Fine are getting money to continue. Like they're going to be able to finish the game that they're working on currently because of Xbox and everything. So, yeah, a little bow on that. A little bow on that. Yeah,
a little positive spin because we've been negative Nancy's for too long, Zach. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel of this.
You know, and I'll say this: it is so easy. What do you think I'm about to say, Derek?
The 14 layers.
Well, I wasn't going there, but it's so easy, and I'm going to defend Asha Sharma here. It is so easy to point at it's her fault. It's her fault. She's making these decisions, and it's like if Asha didn't make these decisions, Xbox would die within 5 years. Okay. Because Microsoft is not going to foot the bill anymore, and she is trying to make the decisions to keep Xbox going. Losing 64 cents, if I told you I was going to give you a job and 64 cents is going to go into my pocket, guess what? You'd be like, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, but no thanks. I'll go somewhere else.
So it's easy to point the finger at the person that's making the hard choices and say that they're the devil, because gut reaction, I'm just like, oh man, were they right? Is she like, you know, is she sunsetting the company? And it's like,
I'll say, I know Seamus Blackley was the staunch advocate of that idea.
Yeah. And it's like, well, no, like she's trying to make the decisions to keep this going, and they suck. Like they suck.
Yeah.
They suck. But
she's trying to make, you know, she's trying to, you know, turn a mountain of turds into like apple pie. You know what I mean? Like she is trying to make chicken salad out of you know what. So again, when you're coming in and everything's like, it could look great from the outside, but once you go on the inside and see that everything's on fire, it's like, no, I got to put this out. Like, I got to do what's best for business.
Yeah. So, Asha, if you see this, I highly doubt that you will. But if you see this, Asha, keep working hard. You're doing a good job. I know it sucks and people are saying horrible crap about you, but you are making the decisions that are going to keep the company going, so we can keep having awesome games. And as long as you keep that in mind, you'll be golden in my book.
Yep.
So don't mess it up.
Don't be a Phil Spencer. Don't take all this goodwill that you're trying to create and then squander it.
Yeah, don't be a Jim Ryan or a Phil Spencer. There's double sides to that bad boy.
Oh. It feels kind of dirty to mention them in the same sentence, but it's appropriate.
I hate it, dude. I hate it.
I know.
It's like I want to think about Phil Spencer in the same light as Sean Layden, Jack Trenton, Shuhei Yoshida, full of grace. But it's kind of hard with all of this coming out there.
Yeah, especially when we read that.
Yeah. Michael says, I would like to see an org chart of how many levels were actually removed by the layoffs.
I would too. Yeah, I would like that too. Jason Schreier, get on the case.
I'll email him after this. It's time for the Patreon quick hits. Again, guys, if y'all want the flattest org chart, it's right here. It's right here at the Nerd Cave. Okay. So if you want to go support us, go over to patreon.com/Nerd Cave. Go over there, pick a tier that fits best for you. Every dollar that is given, it helps us out a ton. Be able to get games for the streams, be able to continue to make stuff like this instead of like, oh, I need to go edit crap for things that I don't care about. You know, being able to do the show, it makes my life a lot happier. I know Derek enjoys it as well. Even on the nights like this, nights like this. But go over to patreon.com/nerdcave, pick the tier that fits best for you, become part of the ship, part of the crew, at patreon.com/nerdcave. Now, Patreon quick hits.
Starting off, Quantic Dream confirms Star Wars Eclipse development is continuing as planned. Speaking of games that have been in development forever, 2K Games co-founder Christoph Hartmann joins Ubisoft's Creative House #2 as general manager. If you were living under the rock since last week and didn't hear about it, Sony is getting rid of disc-based games starting in January of 2028. Some updates since that announcement. Sony stock has rose 3.2% on the back of news that it will end physical game production on PlayStation. Sony unlikely to reverse its decision on stopping game disc production and has been planning to go all digital for a while. A follow-up to that, Canton Games CEO says Sony will not reverse its decision to scrap game discs as digital is just too lucrative. Sony will reassign staff at disc production factory after decision to kill physical PS5 games, which that's the only positive out of that. Instead, they could just lay everybody off. It's like, hey, look, your department's going away. We don't need you anymore. No, we'll just reassign you. That's the only positive. Sony will still allow devs to manufacture discs for games released prior to January of 2028. Petition asking Sony to reconsider decision to stop physical game disc production hits 200,000 signatures. Sony reportedly didn't keep its publishers and business partners in the loop about its plans to kill physical media on PlayStation. Shocker there. PS5 owners are canceling PS Plus subscriptions to protect Sony killing discs, or to protest Sony killing discs, but analysts say it won't make any difference. Ontos, the next horror game by the devs of Soma and Amnesia, has been delayed to 2027. Store leaks suggest Final Fantasy VII Revelation Story Expansion Pass is coming. Expedition 33 director says to expect some drastic decisions for its next game that people won't like. Zach, I'm just going to say this and then we can talk about it after I read the rest of it, but why do companies want to squander all this goodwill they've been doing lately? Like, I just don't get it. Like, maybe it won't be as bad as we're making it out to be. They're just prepping the vocal minority, but my God, why would you make a statement like that? Cyberpunk 2077 sales have reached 40 million units worldwide. Troy Baker is open to new stories within the Last of Us universe, including a prequel that explores what happened with Tommy and Joel. Danganronpa 2x2 or 2x2 delayed to early 2027. Significant pay rises offered by Professor Layton Studio if you correctly answer quizzes about the company's games. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League dev wanted to quit the industry after the game released. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced expands on diving by giving players new shipwrecks to discover. Mecha Chameleon hits an astonishing 15 million sales and teases collab with famous Japanese star. Undead Labs assures fans that State of Decay 3 is still coming after news that it's transitioning out of Xbox. Undead Labs reportedly won't be required to bring State of Decay 3 to Xbox Game Pass after Microsoft's sale, which that's also a good positive. Nintendo Switch 1 consoles will no longer be sold from mid-February 2027 onwards, as at least in Europe so far. Wolfenstein 3 and Wolfenstein TV show are still reportedly in active development. A rumor, Splinter Cell remake release is set for Q2 through to Q4 of next year. So anywhere after March. So from April to December, the game is still planning a release, but it is in a fragile state right now. Talk about cursed franchises. I don't think this game sees the light of day either, Zach, unfortunately. But we can get into that in a minute. IO Interactive regains ownership of Project Fantasy following split with Xbox and will now develop and fund the game independently. Jubilee and The Hood join Marvel Rivals in Season 9, The Mystery of Thebes. The Elder Scrolls 6 is reportedly still at least 2 years away from release. That would put it at, I think it was announced E3 2017, 2018. That's going to put it at least 10 years since the announcement. Crazy. id Software was reportedly toying with pitches for a new Perfect Dark, a John Wick-inspired game, and more before layoffs. Microsoft reportedly plans to make more of its best game consoles exclusive so people have a reason to buy an Xbox. Bithell Games reveals Vampirium 1997, an immersive sim where you work as an assassin for Dracula. Palworld will stay at $30 for its 1.0 release. Switch 2 leak reveals the Crew Motorfest with physical launch via game key card. And lastly, Nintendo confirms Mario Kart Tour shutting down after 7 years. That is the mobile game that they put out.
Why can't I get a Splinter Cell game? Why is it so hard to make a freaking Splinter Cell game? It's not that hard.
Well, apparently they're making it out to be that way.
It's not that hard. Bring me in. Bring me in. I'll call up my good friend Hideo Kojima. And
there you go.
And we will make the best espionage game that's ever been made. I'll tamper down a lot of the crazy, but we'll have some crazy in there. And you know, we'll let his weird foot fetish thing go as well.
All right.
Do you not know about that?
No, that's the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, it's like in every game.
Oh God.
He's like Quentin Tarantino.
Maybe Splinter Cell is going through 14 layers of management, you know, as well to get this game out.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Let me at it, Coach. Let me at it. Expedition. What do you think? I think this is AI. I think this is AI.
Yeah, it has to be, right. And it's going to be some, but again, they're a smaller studio now. How much are they going to expand since the huge success of Expedition 33? Or if they even want to, I don't know. Only time will tell on that. But I do think AI will be, because I mean, in a world where everyone's like very, especially Capcom is very like anti-AI. I do think, oh God. I do think that's got to be the easy decision, but or the easy layup, but in which case, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, it's inevitable. Like, yes, we can grab our pitchforks and torches and, you know, be all anti this and that. But at the end of the day, the companies are going to do what the companies are going to do. They're going to go where the money is, and AI is going to be. We're going to be kicking and screaming to AI just like we have with live service and always online and any other thing that we've been, you know, complaining against.
The only other thought that I could have, if it's not AI, is that we're not doing an Expedition 2. And it's like, well, of course.
Yeah, I'm about to say, which the way the story ended, how could you go off? Like, you could expand, like, you could go different cast of characters and expand on what's going on.
What's the riders? What's the riders versus the painters? Like, what the crap is that?
Yeah. Like, they could go that route, like, or maybe do a prequel to see how we got there. Like, there is some stuff that they could pull from, but I mean, with the cast of characters we had, like the way it ended, like how could you build off of that? Just saying.
Yeah. So I feel like AI is the more apparent thing, but I also can see the we're not doing an Expedition 33-2 or an Expedition 32 or
34,
whatever.
Or,
Well, it's going down.
Well, going down.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That is our episode of the Nerd Cave News. We wrapped it up a lot quicker than the last ones, you know?
Yeah. We made it a point.
We made it a point. So we hope that you enjoyed it. We'll be back on Tuesday. We're going to be playing some games. And, of course, we're going to be back Thursday talking about, hopefully, better news. We hope.
We'll see. Friday has been the big news busting thing lately. I mean, I know this one busted, this broke like Monday or Tuesday, but usually it's been Friday for some.
The Sony stuff happened Friday.
Yeah, that's true.
The disc stuff. And it was like, Xbox like, hold my beer. Well, there you have it, everybody. That is our show this week. Thank you so much for being here. We love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Have a blessed week. Bye-bye.